I think that'd be fascinating, ethnohistory to assemble.
I hope to go down there and spend a little bit more time with them without all the noise that happens in my family. Maybe I can kind of pick his brain a bit.
There's the Chickasaw and Choctaw languages are related, and the descriptions in one of those books is that people talk about
this meeting to order.
Like to
call this meeting to order. Okay. We'd welcome everybody to EVIT on Monday, July 15th, 2024, for our regular board meeting. Thank you. All right. Mr. Howell, would you mind leading the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amber's not online.
She's not online, so you're going to need to do it, okay?
That's right.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. We have, let me turn my page. Okay, item 3 minutes. We have a regular meeting of June 24th, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the regular meeting minutes from June 24th, 2024.
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from the regular meeting on June 24th, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, we also have minutes from the special meeting on June 28th, 2024.
I move to approve the minutes from the special meeting on June 28th, 2024.
Sorry about that.
You a second?
I second.
Okay, we'll do, ask for the question.
All those in favor of approving those special meeting minutes from June 28th, 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
All the, that was just you. I think we forgot to say that. Let me try that again. All those in favor of approving the special meeting minutes from June 28th, 2024, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries, Mr. Chairman.
It's good to have fun. Okay, any call to the public?
Excuse me, I don't know that I'm sorry, my bad, go ahead.
No public, okay. Just to make sure we have no public. All right, consent agenda. Okay, we have consent agenda, item 5, consent agendas, A through G. Do I have a motion?
You did a little bit. I'm sorry, Mr. President, I'm so off my game right now. Did we do item 4, call to the public?
Yes.
We did, okay.
Yeah,
listen,
did.
That's my bad.
That's where you went.
That's where I went off the rails, I apologize.
I was ahead of you for a change.
That's good.
That's unusual. Okay, did I hear a motion?
Not yet.
A through G?
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items A through G.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Questions? Nothing needs to be pulled out? Okay. We've got some good field trips. I'm glad to see that we're taking some teachers all over the place. And that should be good for them, be educated. Okay. I'll call for the question.
All those in favor of the items on the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to personnel, item 6, Mr. Wilson. Any changes unusual? I mean, you're starting a new year, so you've had a tough time.
I'm having a tough time tonight, I will admit that. No, Mr. President, members of the governing board, this is a busy time of the year as we're preparing to open the school year, and so we're constantly adding staff. We're having positions that we are struggling to fill. I've said this before, though, I give our HR department a ton of credit. We are further along and better positioned this year than we ever have been in terms of staffing. Given the fact that our enrollment is growing the way that it is, that's doubly impressive. So no, there's nothing here that's out of the ordinary that you wouldn't find during this time of the year.
This personnel agenda. I just have, did we correct the position classification for purchasing specialist 1 and 2? Because it was 1 and 1 on here.
I think it should be 1 and 2,
Yeah,
correct?
it should be 1 and 2. I just
Correct.
want to make sure we have that correction in there.
Correct.
Because we don't want to approve 1 and 1, so,
Correct.
1 will get the 2s.
The better and the 2 and the 1, no,
Yeah.
it's 1 and 2.
Yeah, we'll get 1 and 2. Okay, so make sure that's corrected. Do I hear a motion for personnel?
I make a motion that we accept item 6A, personnel.
A and B or just A?
Just A at the moment.
Just A at the moment.
Okay. I'll second.
A second, okay. We have a first and a second. Any other questions? If hearing none, I'll call for question.
All those in favor of accepting item 6A, personnel, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
All right, we're getting through stuff. Let me turn a couple pages here. Okay, we got an informal discussion about the board members traveling. No,
6B.
I skipped one, excuse me.
6B.
Personnel B. We need to do personnel B. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I was going to say something, but I just kept quiet.
It's your fault. I'm trying to keep up with you. New hires. Do I hear a motion for new hires on B that need their stuff? And we got something, that's for the next one, but that's okay.
I move to approve personnel agenda item 6B.
I'll second. I'll second.
All right. First and second. Hearing no discussion, I'll ask for the question.
All those in favor of item 6B, new hire instructional staff contingent upon receipt of CTE teaching certificate and IVP fingerprint clearance card, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay. On to informal discussion now on number 7, discussion and interest board members travel to ACTE Career and Technical Education Vision National Conference. There we go, Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, one of the things that I'm so appreciative of as a superintendent is that you all are very willing to not only yourselves, but staff participate in conferences locally and across the country. Because of that, though, we're always very mindful that we want to try to capture the early bird special so that we can get a reduced rate, not only in the cost of the conference fee, but oftentimes you can get hotels at a lesser rate, air flight at a lesser rate, the earlier you book. So there's the national conference that is in San Antonio this year, and the early bird special ends at the end of July. So we have one more meeting before that special will end. And we still have kind of wrestled a bit with board travel. Our policy, as it stands today, is that the governing board discusses each conference and then makes recommendations for which all or any of you will attend those conferences. It was asked of me to provide to you as a governing board kind of the past year's conference schedule and allocation, both in number of conferences as well as dollar allocation, so that you could have an opportunity potentially to begin a discussion as it relates to which, if any, of our governing board would like to attend the national conference. You'll see it's not an action item tonight because we wanted to give you an opportunity to discuss it first and then come back again in our next meeting in July with an action item that would still give us the time to capture whoever, how many ever of the governing board members would want to attend the conference, capture the early bird special. So the discussion tonight is really a governing board discussion on how you would want to proceed so that when we get to our meeting, our second meeting of the month, you can have an action item that would send one or all of you or none of you to the conference.
Okay. Now, are there any board members that are present care to go to the national conference so we can put them on the agenda for next time, besides me?
I believe Mr. Lane is present.
Dr. Lane.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Lane is
Dr.
interested in
Lane?
attending.
Mr. Lane. Hobson, no?
No,
Okay. Giving you opportunity. If you change your mind in the next 2 weeks, please let them know. Okay? Hearing that, we can go on to the next discussion. I can see I was expensive. Okay. Let me turn my page here. Policy revision. Kevin, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. There are 5 revisions up for second read. The first one is on vacations and holidays. And the only change from the first read is we reinstated the word rate that I inadvertently deleted on the first revision. Second one is the policy on tuition and fee refunds. There's no changes to that. The third one is the student automobile use and parking policy. We reduced the fines to 15, 25, and 50 as instructed by you at the last meeting. Number 4, the global revisions that are just the title changes that you previously made. And number 5 is the glossary, to which we've added a definition of directors, which is employees with director in their job title and who may supervise other employees in a specialty area.
Thank you for the updates. I think this is a motion. Oh, gosh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to have a motion, please, to approve these changes.
I move to approve action item 8A, policy revision, second read.
I second item 8A, policy revisions, second read.
All right. And I'll ask for a question.
All those in favor of item 8A, policy revisions, second read, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Now, here's where the crowd comes in. Item B, funding approval, back to school, all staff lunch meetings. I'm not going to read all that, but do I hear a motion? Oh, it's Dr. Wilson. There's no one talking on this. Anybody want to say something about this?
Mr. President, members of the governing board, as a reminder, this was a recommendation that was provided to us by the Auditor General in relationship to providing things like meals, which is allowable as long as it's done ahead of the time. And so we start our back to school time with our teachers this week and would like to provide them lunch while they're lesson planning and training, but obviously need your authorization to do that.
All right, back to school. When is that going to be? When will that be?
Wednesday.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday is our general session together. If you're interested in attending, let Tammy know, and we can make sure that we give you the information.
Okay.
And it's always good for the
yeah.
faculty and staff to be able to interact with y'all.
With any board member. Okay, we're invited. Woo-hoo. Thank you. And C, IFB, whatever, commercial welding equipment supplies.
I believe you need did we vote on B?
Did we vote on B? No, we didn't. We need
We need a motion.
we need a motion first. I'm getting ahead of things, I'm sorry.
I threw you off, I know.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item B, funding approval for back-to-school all-staff lunch meeting.
I second.
Hearing, we've had our discussion. Here, ask for the question.
All those in favor of item 8B, funding approval for back-to-school all-staff lunch meeting, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, now we'll go on to action item C. And Dr. Wilson, you want to tell us about it?
Mr. President, members of the governing board, one of the things we always do as an organization, most public organizations do, is look for competitive bids. In our competitive bidding process, requests for information, requests for proposals, the proposals are open, and the lowest bid is the bid that oftentimes wins that contract. And so what is being asked of you tonight is to approve the contract for commercial welding equipment and supplies. They were the lowest bid in the request for proposals, and so we chose them based on their price point.
Have we ever done business with them before?
I believe we have, yes. I
Okay.
believe we have.
And you're satisfied with that?
Yeah, I
Good.
mean, and oftentimes, sometimes the lowest bid isn't the best, right? But as long as they match up what the request is, then we feel comfortable continuing with them. But oftentimes, to your point, the lowest bid isn't the best, especially when you're talking about nuances of product, and here, there isn't really the nuance of product.
Okay, and who went over these bids?
We had two of our business office individuals they were Joe and Andrew, who are in our procurement office. So they were responsible for ensuring that the procurement was done correctly.
All right, they got to open the envelopes and have fun. All right, item C, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve item C, the IFB for commercial welding equipment and supplies.
I'll second.
We've had our discussion, so I'll ask for the question.
All those in favor of item 8C IFB number 25-001 for commercial welding equipment and supplies, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, we're on to item D, apprenticeship tuition and fees. Just one apprenticeship program, I guess. Dr. Doolin, I think you're, no, yeah,
Good evening,
yep.
Mr. President, members of the board. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the apprenticeship tuition and fees, and this is for all of our apprenticeship programs. This was calculated on what we need to do from our side to get them through the time that they're with us. They do about 8,000 hours in the electrical apprenticeship, and the fees are for tuition is about $2,500 a year. Supply fees are $220, and there's potential out-of-pocket fees and description for safety glasses and gloves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a quick question.
Please do.
I am very unfamiliar with how tuition works in registered apprenticeship programs, but I know that the registered apprentices are working while they are attending the coursework. So I'm imagining that a good chunk of that tuition may be covered by the work that the apprentices are doing during the program. Am I correct in that or no?
No, they will be paid while they are in the.
Right.
Yes.
And then they could use that.
Use that money to pay their
Yes,
tuition.
okay,
Correct. That
cool.
is correct.
Great, thank you.
We will also have some news for you probably on an upcoming agenda that's related to that as well.
Great, thank you.
Good punchline in there. Okay, we have a motion, I assume, am I correct? Yeah, you asked a question. Yeah. Okay, ask for the question, please.
All those in favor of item 8D, apprenticeship tuition and fees, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay. Down here, okay. Item E, GMP 7.5 contract, Building 1, Floor 1, remodel. Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, it is no news to you that our main campus is under remodel, has been for quite some time, will be for quite some time. And it's wonderful to have partners like Chase and SPS to help us kind of navigate through that. If you remember correctly, we came to you previously to do a GMP on the pre-construction of Building 1 first floor. The value in doing the pre-construction is that oftentimes we can get a lead time on material that we know is going to take a long time to get here. And the longer it takes for us to get here, the slower the project runs, and the slower the project runs, the more the project costs. And also, too, some of the lead equipment, the longer it takes to get here, the price of the equipment goes up. And so there's efficiency and effectiveness in doing some of the pre-construction. And so we did that with Building 1 several months ago. We're back now because the pre-construction work is over, and we're ready to begin the process of actually completing the remodeling and renovation of Building 1 first floor. So the ask tonight is to have the approval of GMP 7.5, which is Building 1, Floor 1 remodel, which is the continuation of the pre-construction GMP you approved several months ago to continue the project. We have with us tonight individuals from both Chase and SPS that will walk you through briefly.
We're not going to do it, Dr. Wilson?
Yeah, did you see that pause I got?
I did.
Briefly, both
time.
the GMP for the Building 1 remodel as well as the GMP that will come next as it relates to the pre-construction for the central plant. So I don't know, is Jenner's up on the GMP for Building 1 bottom floor?
I'll be brief. But first of all, thank you guys for the opportunity to be here tonight. It's been a real pleasure working with Dr. Wilson and the whole EVIT team on these remodels, and we're super excited to hopefully be back for this exciting transformation of Building 1, Floor 1. If you guys have any specific questions about any of the line items, please let me know. But to recap the previous GMP 7.4 that we executed, there was two main components to that. One was the early procurement of long lead item materials that Dr. Wilson mentioned. So in the last 4 to 6 weeks, we've ordered those, so now they'll be here in time to where we can now install them. And then the second facet to that GMP was all of the demolition and isolation. So if you go in that space now, you'll see that it's 100% demoed. As well, we've done some key isolation components so that floor 2 can be occupied while we remodel the floor 1. Those two components, the first one was all of the chilled and hot water plumbing mains. So all of the cooling lines that feed the second floor have now been replaced so that you can have cooling to the second floor while we're demoing the first floor. The other facet to that is a lot of the waistline repairs under slab on the first floor, again, so the restrooms can be occupied on the second floor, or one of the gang restrooms, that is. And it's important to note that some of this floor 1 kind of work that we're doing on the front end not only impacts the first floor remodel that we're doing, but also supports the second floor. So you're getting value in that as well. Again, moving forward to this next GMP, that's that middle column right in the middle of the schedule values, so remaining GMP 7.5. The total value we're asking tonight is for $10,828,268, and that basically encompasses the rest of the build back. So all of your reprogramming of the space, the interior finishes, the equipment, MP&E systems, all of that stuff. But that's basically the summary.
So actually, that was really brief, thank you. Question I have though is, so out of the, what did you say the total ask is tonight?
The total ask tonight is $10,828,268.
And out of that, is there a life cycle cost?
There is, so the life cycle cost for this GMP is $2,316,666 on the overall floor 1 remodel. So GMP 7.4 and tonight's 7.5. The whole life cycle value of the whole project is $5.4 million. So after life cycle, the total is $8.5 million.
So one of the reasons why I think it's important for us to mention that is you guys were very prudent and I think forward-thinking in having us do the life cycle analysis so that we would know ahead of time what needed to be remedied within a facility that was 30 years old. And so sometimes we talk about these numbers and they're large, they're significantly large, but in some way we would have to be doing some of this anyway, because if we didn't, then the life and the duration of the facility would continue to deteriorate. So it's always important, I think, that we make mention that part of this is doing the life cycle analysis that was conducted a number of years ago so that we can have a plan to not only bring the building up to current usage, but also a plan that allows us to continue on protecting the investment that our taxpayers made. Questions?
What does the life cycle, besides, is that coming in and telling us what we need to do? Or does it, is there something if in 2-3 years it's kind of falling apart, that they come in and take care of it?
So what it does, and I'm gonna give it a best shot, but Don's over there, and if I mess it up, Don. So the life cycle analysis comes in and takes a look at a ton of our equipment in our facility, and it gives an idea of the expected lifespan of those areas and where we're at within the lifespan of those areas, so that we can begin planning a much more proactive approach towards not having to take care of everything at one time, which we're having to do right now, because no disrespect, there wasn't a plan in place that allowed us to take care of the facility on a continuous basis. And so what the life cycle analysis does is to tell you, this is when you can expect to have to repair your roofs, you're going to expect to have to get new air units. Now, sometimes they run longer, sometimes they run shorter, but it gives us a roadmap for us to begin budgeting what we're going to do when it's all said and done. And again, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, exactly right, is then the life cycle analysis isn't a stagnant document. It's a document that when we're through the process continues to evolve. So as we add things onto and we take things off, we add new things onto, we take things off, so that we're being proactively taking care of our investment, not reactively trying to fix it. Was I close?
Are you on?
Can't hear you.
Your mic's not on.
Hold on, push and hold the button.
We just put a little battery in there, not enough for you?
No, I mean, I think that's, I don't know that I'm 100% correct, but I think that kind of gives you the feel for it.
Yeah, spot on.
So it's an improvement over what was in place, which was nothing in place.
Yeah, no, it is, and
That's good.
you know, I don't, everybody else does, I don't do a good enough job making sure that we're communicating that when we're done with this project, not only will we have a facility, both here and at Power, that is updated and current, but we'll also have a roadmap to protect that investment in a much more methodical, sensical sort of a way versus kind of going at it as it needs to get done, which sometimes works, but sometimes isn't the best usage of taxpayer dollars.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion for item 8E, GMP 7.5 contract, Building 1, Floor 1 remodel.
I second.
Mr. Ball, any questions? Just kidding you.
Not.
Okay, hearing none, I ask for the question.
All those in favor of item 8E, GMP 7.5 contract, Building 1, Floor 1 remodel, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Okay, we have item F, GMP 1.6 contract, central plant. I assume it's almost the same thing, but go ahead, Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, I started the conversation about the previous action item around the procurement, the pre-construction procurement and the benefit that was for us as an organization. And I complimented Chase because they're actually very proactive in being able to help us maximize resources and use efficiency and effectiveness to keep our costs down. The central plant is the next area that we're going to be wrestling with, and that's a bear. I mean, when you talk about wrestling something, that's a bear. It really is. I mean, I had no idea the issues that we were going to wrestle with within the central plant. The central plant at one point in time was an amazing invention and very proactive. But like we've said before, because there wasn't a lot of upkeep and proactive thinking, we're at a spot in which the central plant is going to have to be replaced in totality. Simply because the underlying piping that is there is crumbling. Our chillers aren't big enough to maintain the square footage that we're running because we're growing. So it is a Herculean task. And so one of the things we're wanting to do is to replicate what's worked so far in this remodel is to come to you with a pre-construction GMP that allows us to get a lead time on items that we know are going to be costly, items that we know are going to take some time to get here, so that when we're ready, the material's here and it doesn't slow the project down. But I think it's important for you guys to begin getting your arms around what that central plant process is going to look like. And so we have Brody, who's going to be here and going to begin walking you through the central plant. Tonight's going to be a very short version because it's kind of the GMP to get the party started, but he'll come back again and go deeper. But I do think it's important that you begin seeing the next step of what we're endeavoring to make right within the organization.
Would you like me to send?
Yeah, get it going.
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Wilson, I will also keep this brief. There's been a lot of work on the central plant for the last couple of months. We have taken a look at your entire system. The central plant is the building that's just to the south of this building that literally has all the equipment that sends heated water and cooled water to all your buildings where they get cooled and they get heated. And so it is really the heartbeat of the campus as far as the HVAC side of it. As was mentioned, we took a look at all the underground piping. That has been something that's been an ongoing problem for several years. Just to put it bluntly, you've been band-aiding as one area breaks, you try to fix that, and it literally has come to a point where you need to replace the whole thing. I know this slide has been up for a while, but this actually, the different colors in that whole routing, that's where all the piping goes throughout your campus. And we took a look at what would be the best and the most prudent way of replacing that. And it's basically abandoning what's there and putting in new at the same location, because we've gone through and taken a look at easements and encumbrances, things that would be roadblocks, and we found that really the existing layout is the best way to go. And so the other part of it is looking at all the equipment inside your central plant. You have 3 chillers that are in there that actually cools the water, the liquid that goes and cools your facilities. A typical lifespan, you think of life cycle, a typical lifespan of a chiller is 20 plus years. That's about it. When it hits the 20 years, then you really need to start looking at replacing it. You have 2 of them that are 28 years old, and the third one is 18. So by the time we get to that, to get that replaced, it will have hit its 20 years. And so what we're looking at doing tonight is to be able to get the equipment ordered and also get the piping ordered. And so then while we're waiting for that to arrive, then the next GMP that would be brought to you would be for labor to be able to start installing. So obviously we can't do those right away, but as we've been doing on all your projects, is get that early procurement, get that equipment and piping ordered so we get the best price, and when it gets here, then we can start working on it. Any questions that you might have?
What are the significant differences in all the colors up there piping?
I think it has to do with just thinking about some phasing, you know, what color actually goes to what building, and also just sizes of the pipe and different things. So it's more of design and engineering type things than anything else. Because obviously we can't go through and replace everything at one time. We got to take sections of it. And then once that's all placed in, then when you take the equipment and replace that in a central plant, you flip the switch, if you will. We just can't have everything shut down for, weeks. It literally will be throwing a lever and turning one off and turning the other one on and having that system up and running. This will take, and I don't want to take all of Brody's thunder, but right now we're looking at, with this approval tonight, be able to move forward. You're looking at about 9-10 months to actually do all the work. So this time next year, if everything goes well, we will have a new system up and running.
Can I ask a couple questions, Mr. President?
Yes.
So, Don, the lead time, or maybe this is Brody, the lead time on the equipment is how long?
Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Wilson, your question is the lead time on the chillers. They're 7 months after approval. Approval typically takes about a month for the submittal process, so we're looking at about 8 months.
About 8 months. So, back to the point that, part of the balance that we're trying to walk, I've been part of other new constructions. A remodel is just a uniquely different animal. And so part of what we're trying to balance is how do we keep the organization functioning in a healthy, productive way, while at the same time being proactive in resolving some of the issues that we're facing. So the idea of a 8-month, as Don said, that puts us right about this time next year. So the hope with it is that by the time we open up for 25, 26, we have our new central plant in pocket and in place and ready to go, so that we can get past, we know the challenges that we have, and have a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. And you see, and correct me if I'm wrong, Don or Brody, part of the coloring, maybe not the coloring, but all of the piping is underground. And so we have to piece it out, because we got to have buses that still come onto our campuses. We've got to have traffic flow. We've got to have, and so there's a process that we have to go through as well to make sure that as we're gearing towards the replacement, we're also being mindful that we still have to run campuses the way that we've always ran them. So it's going to be an interesting process. And so I know, Brody, you have a little bit more that you want to share as far as the actual central plant pre-construction procurement.
Yes, I think to simplify, what we're trying to do is 3 stages. The first would be install valves, the second would be install pipe, and the third would be install equipment. And so essentially what you're seeing on the screen is our strategy is to lock in material pricing with the early procurement, which essentially locks in the price and provides value for EVIT. And then the second thing we'll do after we get the material ordered is we'll start to isolate the sections with isolation valves. So we'll be able to tap into the existing lines while adding new lines, but we will not turn over onto the new lines until we have the entire system fully complete. Once the system is fully complete, March this time next year, the chiller plant and all the equipment would arrive, and we would install from May to July, the chiller plant.
Bertie, you told me something interesting in one of our conversations that, how much is it the chillers that go up each year in terms of cost?
The escalation on the chiller plant equipment is $500,000 per year. So in the course of 2 years, it's gone up over $1 million. So the strategy tonight is to lock in the material pricing on the central plant to stop that increase.
I have a question. Are we supposed to be able to read that? Because I can't read.
It is hard to see, I
You guys
agree.
all read
There-
Oh, no.
Okay.
No
That's why I
clue.
asked about colors.
Yeah.
For context, there's over 11,250 linear feet of pipe, which is over 2 miles of pipes we'll be replacing.
So you're gonna have to tear up the campus all over the place.
Section by
Concrete.
section, and it will be completed before we move on to the next section.
Yeah. So basically, each color is kind of a section that you're gonna do at a time.
Correct.
Which
And
one are
each
you gonna
section
start with?
represents roughly 300 linear feet.
Which one are we gonna start with?
We're going to start right next to the chiller plant.
Okay, the purple?
Yes.
Okay, the light purple, I guess. I don't know.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes.
So if we're saying that the 3 chillers are, 2 of them are pretty much at their maximum lifespan, and then the other one is pretty much just about reaching that point, are they going to be able to function sufficiently while this is going on? How do we do that? I mean, so what happens if one of the chillers chills out? And,
So our
They just
strategy
decided-
is to not decommission the plant until the new
Right.
equipment arrives. It would be too risky otherwise to
Yeah.
take the plant offline.
yeah,
When we do take the plant offline, we will have a temporary air-cooled chiller that will connect to the existing SES and will provide cooling to the campus during the process of the install of the new equipment.
so, but the new equipment's not going to be installed until March of 2025, roughly?
The new equipment will arrive March 2025, and the installation will take approximately 4 months. We would be done into June, beginning of July 2025.
Sure.
The temporary cooler would be running from March until June.
Okay.
Dr. Metcalf, I think I can help you with your question.
Yeah,
We identified in this process, one of the reasons you're seeing this GMP now is some of the things that have occurred.
Right.
The chillers that we currently have, we are not running them at max capacity just for that very reason. Because if we up them to the max capacity, we are pretty confident what we've gotten back from our partners is that we will blow the lines.
Okay.
And we will be in the position you're talking about. So
Okay.
we have 3 of the chillers right now, and they're functioning, I want to say one's at like 60%, like, they're not fully functioning now, but we're not pushing them. The reason we're not pushing them is for exactly what you're talking
Okay,
about now.
okay.
Is because we don't want to tap them out.
right.
And so that we're in that kind of situation.
They need to stay functional until, okay.
Correct. So
Very
we are
good.
not maxing them out. We're
Okay.
being very kind to them.
Yeah.
And treating them like the elder species that they are right now.
So let me throw another bone out there and we can see if we can chase it. So what happens if one of the chillers, even though it's being conservatively used, decides to stop working for whatever reason? Will you be bringing a temporary one in, or what would happen if one of them does go down, for example?
We would first attempt to fix it.
Okay.
If we were unable to fix it, we would bring in a temporary chiller.
Okay, okay. That's what I wanted to make sure of. What was the backup plan in case one of them,
So hopefully we don't have to do the Band-Aid
yeah.
repair.
One thing I would like to add is that the new units are approximately 25% more efficient. So one of the things I'd like to credit SPS and the design team is they've looked at the energy consumption of the chillers that are there, and they've able to upsize the tonnage while maintaining the same draw of electricity. So you're actually picking up 25% additional cooling capacity, which would allow the campus to increase square footage by approximately 140,000 square feet.
So one of the things that is always fascinating to me as we go through projects like this is that the truth is that the chiller, the central plant in our planning process was actually going to be the very last thing. But the urgency that is being presented has moved it up on the scale of need. And I think that's why sometimes it's really beneficial to have a system that has the flexibility and mobility to make decisions, long-term strategic planning decisions based on fluidity. Because had we set in stone what a plan would look like, we wouldn't be talking about the central plant this month, we'd be talking about a year from now.
Right.
But in that time, we would have lost another $1 million and. So
Yeah.
the ability to be able to move, I think is an asset towards our long-term thinking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
I can't remember.
Well, make one.
I move to approve action item 8F, the GMP 7.6 for the contract for the central plant.
I'll second.
A second, first and a second. I'll ask for the question.
All those in favor of item 8F, GMP 7.6, Contract Central Plant, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Number 9, staff reports. Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, just a couple quick items for you. First, based on some of the discussion here tonight, I know Dr. Doolin has some really cool renderings that are through SPS, the architectural firm, about the building 1 bottom floor. I know we're just starting the remodeling, but there's been quite a work that has been done to get to this point. So she'll come and do some of those fly-throughs for you, so you guys can see conceptually what that space is going to look like. I think it's actually just really very student-centered and very, very, very interesting for us to be able to share with you. Item 2, as we said, teachers are back on campus tomorrow to begin the 24-25 school year. We're excited. I mean, there's no reason to not be excited. Our enrollment is up. Our staff is better. We're better staffed now than we have ever been. Based on the work that the curriculum department has been doing, we have much more defined and aligned curriculum, scope and sequence, pacing guides, formative assessments, obviously the summative assessments. Dr. Schreiner has worked diligently on the operational side to make sure that we're in a position that all those different pieces that sometimes give us hiccups are thought through and thought of, so that when we open the school year, we're going to be able to open stronger than we have before, so we're excited. But we also know that it's an overwhelming time for teachers, and so what we're really trying to do this year is to give teachers a bit of breathing room so that they have the opportunity to have time in their classroom, time making sure that they're actually ready. Sometimes as administrators, we believe we know best what they need, and reality, sometimes we just don't. So we're really being very mindful and purposeful. We are having our luncheon on Wednesday, as I mentioned earlier. If you're interested, please let Tammy know, so she can make sure that she's aware, and if there's more than a quorum, that we can do a soft post. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're moving 20 young men and women into Hope Tech and beginning a journey that has been a labor of love. So we're excited. School starts the 23rd or 24th? 23rd or 24th, which is a week from Wednesday. So we're right back in the middle of it again in just a week. There was a situation that I would need you to be aware of today. We unfortunately had a leak in our new barbering facility. It wasn't a fault of anybody's, but things just happened. But between Chase and Chase's proactive approach towards getting folks in there and helping, clamp the leak and actually helping us get the water out of the room, and our faculty and staff who did that, I go walking in there and Kevin had to go home and change because he had sweat so much that he had to go home and change. And Dr. Doolin should have gone home and changed, but didn't because she was sweating like crazy. So the point is that it's wonderful to be in an organization, to have partners when things like that happen. We lean in and we work to get it done, and so I'm very much appreciative. Got a communication from Chase tonight that they're anticipating that whatever needs to be resolved and fixed will be done by the time we start school. And so it was a significant issue today that was navigated well by our partners, by our faculty, our staff, by the administration, and we should be okay come the start of school next Wednesday. And last but not least, we made it through pretty quickly tonight. If you are all interested and want to go take a look at at a couple of the rooms at Hope Tech, we'd be happy to roll you over there so you can take a peek at it. So,
that.
okay?
Yeah,
That's all I have.
absolutely.
Nice. Okay. Now, we're at the closing item. Anything for the calendar next time? Our next meeting will be July 29th on a Monday.
Mr. Boyle won't be here.
What?
Yeah, he's not going to be here.
He's going to collect his gold medal
Yeah, he's going to the
in
Olympics.
Paris.
Gold medal as a parent.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I've
I'm
earned
gonna
my
dock
spot.
your pay, I'm gonna dock your
It's a dream come true.
dock your pay for not coming.
Yeah.
Not
All
going to
that-
join us on Zoom?
Oh, my
Yeah,
gosh.
I think the 9-hour time difference will put me in a very strange hour of the morning.
Where are you going?
Unfortunately.
Paris.
Paris?
Yeah.
Oh. Going to the Olympics too, huh? Oh, nice. That's why you got a gold medal, okay. All right. We'll go to item B, adjournment. We'll ask a question. I assume we have first and second.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn item 10B.
I'll second.
Okay, Lamar seconded, and we'll ask for the question.
All those in favor of adjournment, item 10B, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
I'd like to thank Chase and Don
Thank you.
and SBS and our crew over there. Yeah.
Yeah. You want us to draw